On. You are now live on Channel 8 and YouTube.
Thank you very much, TCTV. Good evening. The time is now 6:30. I'm Chairman Mike Curry, and I'd like to call the Select Board Business Meeting to order on this 25th day of October, 2023. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Matt. Before we begin, I'd like to state for the record that not only are we being streamed live on TCTV Cable Station 8 and our YouTube web platform, but this evening's recording will be available for later viewing on our YouTube channel. We and TCTV would be happy if you subscribe, hit the bell. You'll always know when a meeting is happening. If there are any of our audience members who are or plan to record video, please let us know. We've got everyone's gang's all here tonight. As always, our agenda for this evening is publicly available at the official source for town information, that is templetonma.gov. There you may sign up for alerts or for all public meetings, as well as our town administrator's weekly report. I would also encourage those listening who have not signed up for code red alerts to do so via our website, it's the primary, or by calling 866-939-0911, as this is the primary method for engaging with the public for important information. Although I have the discretion as chairperson to add and remove from the agenda, it has been set to allow for time, personnel resources, and public awareness. I reserve the right to move agenda items around to best fit our guests and our business. Excluding board minutes and comments, we have about, looks like a baker's dozen there. I would estimate we'll be here for approximately 2 hours. That does not include the executive session. If this is your first select board meeting at home or live with us today, we are glad you joined us. We are proud to serve the community and will address tonight's business with patience, fairness, and efficiency. We would ask the same from our guests. Let's have a great meeting. And we got no one else on Zoom. Perfect. Let's jump right in. We are up to approval of prior meeting minutes for October 11th, 2023 in your packet. And as it pleases the board, I would accept a motion to admit those to the record.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion on the minutes from October 11th?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move to amend. I presented a couple of items on there that sent directly to the recording clerk, Jackie Nally, via email. In the top of the business, underneath minutes of the business meeting, present via Zoom, town council. Town council was not present at all in the last meeting, so I asked that to be removed. And in board member and administrator comments and reports, my name was misspelled. I asked that be fixed. So there was a couple things that I would move to amend based on those items.
Did you provide those already?
Those have been provided
Okay.
to Ms. Nally already,
That's
yes.
fantastic. Nice efficiency there.
Corrected.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
under 5, new business section. Under H, the emboldened, it said no notion suggested, as there is still work to be done. Would that be motion? No motion.
Oh, you're right. I just kind of play on words. Bob knew where I was.
No.
No notion suggested. Yes, motion should be motion.
Yeah.
Well, and further under
we
H,
go.
I would add that the chair said that he would work on, yeah, you got it. And I am. Any other amendments, observations, clarifications? And hearing none on the motion to admit the meeting minutes as amended, how would you vote? Tim?
No.
You're messing me up with the seating. Sorry.
Sorry.
I normally
Okay.
have it really good. Terry,
Yes,
Julie,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Just please note it's not unanimous. Okay, we have no executive session minutes to review or approve. We will move to item 4, citizen input. Any citizen input? Any announcements? If you can speak loud enough, then you don't have to come up.
All right, DPW, just want to let the residents know, we'll be paving Friday. Shore Drive and South Main Street up by Crossroad, also known as Ragged Hill. They'll be coming in doing a late start between 9 and 10 a.m. with Shore Drive being done first. There is gonna be a code red going out and the bus companies and stuff.
Fantastic. Yep, more of a reason for people to sign up for the code red. Yep. Okay, thanks for that announcement. Appreciate it, Bob. Any other citizen input?
my thoughts are with Gardner.
True.
With that situation.
Okay.
And Halloween is Tuesday.
Thank you for mentioning that. It is 5 to 7 on Tuesday, October 31st. All right, we're gonna move on. New business, introductions of new employees. We do have a new employee, but we're gonna postpone that until our next meeting for the introduction. I can see in our agenda that we don't have any appointments due right now. So we're gonna jump right in to our presentations for quarterly reports, and we are at FY24 Q1 Finance. Got Kelly leading the charge. As they say in Britain, they're queuing.
Well, hi, everyone. Good
Hi.
to be here tonight. So the first quarter in my office is always the same of getting the books closed out and getting the free cash certified. This time was a little challenging. Nancy's been out for some, a little while. So trying to get everything done, it's been a little challenging, but we got it done. For the expenditures, it's usually in the first quarter where we pay all of our one-time expenses with the softwares and all of that. So that's always, a large reason that most of them are at the 25%. For the revenue, we're right at 24%, which is pretty much right on target. And then I've added the special project report in the back for the special articles, so you can see where we are on the status of those, if they're in the works. A lot of them, we're still, ordering stuff and the bids and all of that. So sometimes they take a little longer than you would expect. Have any questions for me?
Any questions for Kelly?
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
So thanks for bringing the sunshine. I heard it's gonna be in the 70s for the next couple days, and I'm wondering, how did we luck out? So anyway,
Hey,
I'm
packed it
looking
in my
at-
suitcase.
So, Title V, that we give loans to people, that's
Yes.
what that is for,
Yes.
okay. And then what does the term blind exemption mean?
Um,
It's at the very bottom.
is that in the assessor section?
Yeah, reminders
would
were
be-
sent out to service connected.
Yeah, that would
He
be,
hasn't even given the report.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was in two places. That's
Okay.
why I got confused. It was in two places.
Oh,
In hers and
It's
then-
under an accountant. Yep.
Yeah, it's under account and it's under justices, so. Either way, I'm not in a hurry. Either one of them can answer one.
Yeah,
okay,
you can get,
he'll cover that one. Yeah, but that's what that is the loans that we give out to help people with their budget. Okay.
there were no more questions for Kelly, right? Okay. All right, assessors.
Okay.
Hi, Justice.
Hello, everyone. So in first quarter, the preliminary bills went out for the first and second quarters. We committed commitments number 4 and 5 from the Registry of Motor Vehicles, for about over 96,000. And then over 4,000 was abated in motor vehicle excise. So We also do exemptions in our office, like what Terry was saying. So applications for statutory exemptions are currently open as of July 1st. Those are open through till April 1st of next year, 2024. We only mail out certain applications if we're asked, specifically the senior means tested, our 41Cs and our 17Bs. So if you want an application, please call or email or get in touch with our office and we will send that out to you. We do send out reminders to all of our disability related exemptions, specifically our service related disabilities and our blind exemptions. So all of those individuals receive postcards in the mail, as well as additional reminders to come and fill out their paperwork. We did that at the beginning of the quarter.
So you're saying that it's blind people?
Yes.
Okay.
Who are, you qualify for the exemption if you are registered with the Commission for the Blind, or if it's your first year with a doctor's approval.
Thank you.
Chapter 59, section 5, clauses 37 and 37 alpha.
So, starting this year, just as a notice for everyone, chapter land applications did change. They're now due on December 1st. We have sent out postcards to all of our chapter land individuals who are in chapter 61A and 61B, 61A agriculture and forestry and 61B recreation. As of right now, the assessors have submitted several forms into Gateway. You can see the list that has been submitted in pending approval and approved down there. We are making our way along for the tax rate recap. We are still getting a bunch of building permits, as Lori will go into with her quarterly report later. I went out and measured 5 new single-family homes in the last quarter. And Sue, our field inspector, is still doing cyclical visits. So if you see her, she will have a badge and business cards. We also send out postcards in the mail so that everybody is aware of that before we go there.
She's getting her steps in.
Yes. During August, we had a new assistant join us in the office, Steve Robichaud. And also in August, I took one more class towards my Massachusetts accredited assessor certification. So that's 4 classes today. And that's what we've done the first quarter. Any questions?
Any questions for Justice?
This might be a question for combined between Justice and Kelly. I'm looking at the special article report. I'm seeing assessor revaluation going back fiscal year 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 all still have money. And looks like they've been untouched. So I just wanted to know what's going on with
So I
that.
can actually answer that question.
Thank you.
So what those accounts are for is our quinquennial certification from the state every 5 years. It used to be every 3 years, but now it's every 5 years that we have to do what's called a revaluation program within the town to make sure our values are certified at full and fair cash value, which is the state standard by law. You will actually see in the next fiscal year a rapid use of those funds. I just submitted the packages over to the town administrator's office. We're going to go out to bid for that. That's what those accounts are used for. It is appropriated out of taxation from raise and appropriate, and it's done every year. You see that on your on the town meeting for articles.
So fiscal year 2024, we're going to see that.
Yes, and we do it split up like that across special articles so that it doesn't impact the town budget. Instead of going every, it used to be 3 years, but every 5 years going up and saying we need, so many thousands of dollars out of the tax rate.
Instead of saying you need $100,000 on the 3rd year, you're saying you're taking it, you're splitting up amongst.
Right, and now it's
So the
5.
5 years.
Now
yeah,
it's 5
exactly.
years, but
Okay,
yes, yeah, we split it out, yeah.
Okay. Good, thank you.
I have actually had one more quick question. Forgive me for not remembering. How does the opioid get filed, the opioid money? I was looking in the ledger.
The opioid funds come into the town and we now have it set up for a stabilization that we voted at the fall town meeting. So, or the annual. So now when the funds come in, they go directly into that stabilization fund.
Does it get marked opioid?
Yeah, it's
Would
gonna
you be
be,
able to see it?
yeah, it's gonna be. It may not appear here because we don't have any money yet.
Yeah, oh, that's why I was just.
Yeah, it's not, it's gonna be, account number 2505.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Justice? One once. Thank you, Justice. Thank you. Cheryl?
Nothing changes.
Next.
We collected motor vehicle, we did a sewer and real estate tax all in the quarter. We did 75 municipal liens this quarter. It's going down a little bit. They don't seem to be coming in as quickly as they used to. Danielle and I attended school in August. That's the required school for our certification. This is her second year, so possibly next year she'll be able to test if they offer what she needs to finish up her courses, so. And then our collections are below. I just want to remind everybody that next Wednesday, taxes are due, the 1st. Don't forget. Yeah, and I don't know if anybody saw it, but our notice was in the paper the other day. That's next quarter, but it's up for all the past due 2023 property tax.
Right, Gardner News.
Yep.
Yep.
It's in the hall.
Mhm.
They posted in the post office. So if anybody didn't get the paper that day, they're out there to see.
Any questions for Cheryl? Going once. Thank you very much, Cheryl.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Next is our grant writer administrator. Hello, Graceland.
So Chairman, can I just say before she starts, I just love the fact that we have a grant writer sitting in front of us right now in the town of Templeton. I think this
Other
is
communities are jealous.
just taken, many, many years. So again, you are well loved here. Just
All right, so I personally applied for 2 grants this quarter, the Community Compact IT grant and the DIA Workplace Safety grant. The park grant for Houghton Park, I didn't personally turn that in. That was turned in July, but I've been working on some fine tuning for that application. They have also been researching, got approximately 10 grants right now. Next Tuesday, I'll be starting my MCPPO classes. I'll be able to get my associate certification for that. Lots of webinars, finish my ethics training. And then I think that's it.
Any questions for Graceland?
you haven't been overwhelmed.
Not really.
Okay, because I'm trying to keep my distance until you're settled in.
Any other questions? Once. All right, thank you very much. Thanks, finance team.
Thanks,
Appreciate it. Right, next presentation, we have quarterly reports FY24, Q1 Development Services. Hello, Lori.
Oh, I'm gonna start bringing my team with me too, though, because it's getting long. These
Only like
reports.
all of the oxygen just left with the finance team?
Yes, yes, for sure.
That's the way that you guys are. You got each other.
I don't think there is a quick overview. I understand that you guys get these ahead of time, and the information really doesn't change. It increases here and there, but the rhetoric is pretty much the same. So I'm not sure if you just want to ask me questions.
You like to go by exception.
I think it would be the easiest way to go if you want.
Okay. Mr. Chair? Yes.
Going to the building permits.
Yes.
What's your trend look like as for how many we're getting and how many you're continuing to expect at this point?
So it has slowed down a little bit,
Okay.
and we have probably 6 in the pipeline for new single-family homes right now. Hubbardston Road is 4 lots. We got a couple more. I'm trying to think. They just finished up
I think the last one on French Road.
Four up there.
Yeah, there's a couple other lots that people are looking at, so, but it has
Okay.
quite a little bit.
Okay.
It's become really good income though.
Oh, no argument.
With the change actually to, and we provided the information in our annual report that we're working on, but with the change to the fee schedule for building, the increase has been substantial. It didn't sound like a lot, but it ended up being a
Right.
lot.
Multiplied.
Right.
Excellent.
I can tell you COVID in the first quarter had dropped. It was pretty good. We're back up to about 31 cases right now. It has been a mild type cold for most people. We do have in the office unexpired test kits if anybody needs them.
Unexpired.
Unexpired, the date is good. There's 5 to a package now, instead of 2, so we still have those in the office.
What would people do if they do have expired kits? What's your recommendation?
At this point, I'm thinking the expired ones are so far expired that they might not be as efficient. It might still show you that you're positive, but I think destruction is, they can go in the regular trash.
They really can, huh?
They can.
Mr. Chair. Just a comment. I had reached out to Lori because the ones we had acquired last year that we were handing out all had the expiration date had been surpassed. If you scan the back of it, it takes you to an FDA website. And those have been extended through April of 2026. I did do that right after we spoke.
Yeah,
So
I've
they
had-
are still good.
I've had people tell me they're not working though.
Hmm.
So I'm not
I agree
sure.
with you on that. They don't work. The ones that I have don't work.
So if you need ones that are unexpired, we do have those also.
Just quickly, is there any, in the last, under planning board,
Mhm.
it was mentioned that they were going to do some work with Adam on the special permits for, plastic zoning.
Yeah.
Pyrolysis and-
We are looking at some wording and I still need to sit down with Adam to kind of finalize what exactly we're looking to do. But we are still looking for that to happen.
Being a Grammy, even Lego decided that they were not gonna use recycled plastics because it's too much pollution for the
Right.
environment, so.
That is moving forward. Though. Conservation has been extremely busy. Jessica has been a very nice addition as a conservation agent. She's conscientious. She's been going to the site walks. We've also filled the board at this point in time.
Excellent.
So it's now a full board.
Congratulations.
Great news.
It is great news.
Yep.
Under building as a highlight, Rhonda has gotten all the information in. We're moving forward with the software permitting. One of the applications that Graceland reported on was actually for the software to support it. In case it doesn't come through the way we hope it does, we did back that up by going to capital planning. Something new for me is the CPC. They're working on Baldwinville Elementary School project, the Baptist Common Road Cemetery project. CPC was granted read-only in Vadar so that Jess can maintain reports for the CPC. They had an open house, which they attended for a building that MPZ, the company that's doing the elementary school. And I'm sorry, I forgot where that actually took place. But they attended to see the building. Houghton Park, the site visit for a grant presenting for opening of Gilman Waite tennis court bids. There was one received. Oh, nice. Pretty much it on that. Board of Health is standard. 28 Albert Drive is moving forward. A receiver has been appointed.
So that will become a viable property again.
Good.
And hopefully a first-time home buyer situation will happen with that too through USDA, so. And I don't know if anybody noticed 29 Sawyer Street. They're working on that. That's gonna be back where it belongs. Yes.
You'll also notice that Drury Lane, I drove by and it was like, I thought I was in the wrong end of town or something. Really,
see
a
the plan.
remarkable, yeah, you can see the grass or otherwise, so great job.
I have to tell you that Mr. Drury, working with the receiver, did most of the work himself,
Mhm.
if not all to this point. There were some questions about whether or not he could keep some equipment in the sheds and to be consistent, the answer to that was no. We have other
Yes, no.
cases where we're facing the same issues and we have to be consistent, so.
Any other questions for Lori? Okay, Lori, thank you.
I wish you a good evening.
Good night, you
Thank
too. Stay safe.
Thank you, Lord.
All right, next up is our FY 24 quarter one, community services.
Hi.
So in this quarter, the library's summer reading incentive continued. We had approximately 60 children participating. I participated in the panel to interview for a new director of veteran services. Former TCTV intern Ashland helped us to create the first issue of the library's e-newsletter, which we're compiling a list of subscribers now. Hope to have a fall or winter issue out. Farmers market concluded this quarter. I submitted the first of 3 reports to the Board of Library Commissioners. Story hour began, as well as the weekly stitching group that Luann Bankowski created resumed after a break for the summer. And I don't know if any of you saw the 9/11 memorial that resident Kelly Taylor created. It was in front of the library for several weeks. Very, very nice. Yeah.
I was shocked.
Who did that, Kelly Taylor?
Kelly Taylor,
Yeah.
remarkable
amazing.
young lady, 7th grade. She's just,
Yep.
yeah, keep your eye on her. So that's all I have for the library. I did make a note that I received a report from Michelle Cody regarding just an update on the food pantry. So that's attached.
Yep, saw that. Yep. I have a question for you, Jackie. Farmers market, is it trending up? Do you feel like it's getting stronger or consistent?
No,
Needs more?
I don't know what it needs. We didn't charge vendors a fee to set up this year. We thought that would really kind of help, but I don't know. I don't know what it needs. We're gonna regroup this winter with the vendors that did consistently come by and try to brainstorm. I don't know. I hate to give up on it,
Right.
but it really just is not taking on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
the
I
the
watched-
weather didn't help this year either.
Right.
I watched an MMA video today about reaching constituents, and one of the things they said was reinvent reaching out, not, there are other social media platforms that the younger generation are using that aren't what we're used to. So
Oh.
try, stirring the pot and reaching out on different social media platforms.
Okay,
So that, I can talk to you a little bit more
Yeah.
about that.
yeah.
I've had more ideas than that, but that was one of the things I know Steve Bliss, when he came to the planning for the hazard mitigation, he said TikTok. He mentioned TikTok as a thing, and
Okay.
I don't know.
Try anything at
Live,
this
I
point.
don't know, whatever. And I had a,
That's a good idea, though.
change in your,
It's, how do you expand your audience, your demographic,
That
by
is a
looking
good-
at the different demographics, so.
MMA has a library of all their stuff now, because I was looking to see if I could go back, like you said, when you took the not ethics, but the behavior, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's when I ran into was how to talk to constituents, how to reach constituents, and it just, you would like it too, because it's current, it was September 23rd. So I had another question, if that's okay. It says 3 meals were sponsored with ARPA funds. Did we exhaust the ARPA funds? It's under senior services. It says 3 meals were sponsored with ARPA funds.
I don't
And I
have-
was just wondering if there was any, you know, any more.
Oh, yeah,
I thought we were.
we budgeted for a year's worth of meals. to
Yeah,
be,
So that
um,
just didn't, just struck me as, is there any left over? There should be.
Oh, yeah. there-
Unless it
yeah,
was like,
The budget versus actual, it's gonna show you the unexpended amount.
yeah,
And then,
funny,
I, and being responsive to who has come before us, some of the things, that is certainly one thing that I want to be able to fully fund. I want to be responsive to what the community is looking for. I know we've gone through many different iterations, but I think we should make sure that we're either fully funding or expanding, whatever the capacity it is that we feel that we can bring to a sustainable level.
mhm.
I think that we should be doing that, and be responsive. to that.
Especially after reading the whole Bible chapter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
They-
Right.
different-
Just
Oh, go
to-
ahead, you, go ahead.
Yeah, just to, for your information, ARPA senior meals allocated $4,283, expended $772 and change, still remaining $3,510.37.
I'll look that up. Thank
Yeah.
you, Matt.
Yeah, it's in the budget.
It's in there.
So we still got a wiggle room.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, over at the senior center, as usual, it was a busy quarter there. Elvis was there. Um, that was really well attended and a lot of fun. He actually had like, these like red scarves that he had, I don't know how many he had, but he kept going over to different ladies. The scarves around their neck, so it was really a lot of fun. There was a trip to Salisbury Beach as well as one to the Red Apple Farm and to Newburyport. Couple of barbecues with guest grill masters. We've had 2 informational sessions with Dr. Chandra, who is a local physician, one on diabetes and the other on osteoporosis. Those have proven to be really popular, so we're gonna be looking into expanding that in the next quarters. The vaccine clinic was held, 52 flu shots. They didn't administer COVID shots at that time, but 40 people pre-registered. And we just had that clinic a few weeks ago. Newly formed men's group, seems like it's gathering momentum. Elaine and Linda attended the MCOA conference. And talk with the town continued with Rich Curtis from CERT. And then I have the statistics. It just boggles my mind, the number of folks that are making their way into that building for one reason or another, so very, very busy place, so.
How do you think they compare with our comparison communities?
That's a good question. I can look into that. Yeah, I know for a fact that many of our seniors, they hop around. There's, there's a
We're
circuit.
looking for the, yeah.
Yeah,
There's
can,
a
there
circuit.
is, there's like a cribbage circuit and,
Yeah.
they like different days at different centers and
Your center hopping. It's a new one.
and why not, so, I'll look into that though, if I can get some statistics from our
Okay, thank you.
other communities, so. And then Michelle couldn't be here, but she sent along a really encouraging report. She was able to reconcile accounts from July 2022 to the end of September this year, so that reimbursed the town over $46,000. She submitted 8 new VA claims and processed paperwork for 4 spouses to become alternate signers for the veterans that they're associated with. So she's learned a lot. She's excited to be here. And I'm thrilled that she's here too. I think she's also working with, is it Devon's, to bring some of our records over there to be scanned into their database, which is great. There's lots of records going way back in that office. How do you index them or anything, you know what I mean? So she's working on that too. So she's done an awful lot since she started here.
You know if there's a cost to that
And I
or
don't think there is, no, just a matter of
electronic records? Yeah.
transporting it there, and she's been doing that on
Yep.
her time, so,
Good to have.
yeah, absolutely. And Lisa submitted a report from the Cultural Council. They met once this quarter. Again, the rough summer, they've had to reschedule some events due to weather. They've had 1, 2, 3 bandstand concerts that were really popular. So I would imagine they're gonna be looking at funding some more of those. Really well attended, about 90 to 100 people each one. So, and that's, folks are saying that it's nice to have this coming back to the community, so. And as usual, she always puts this in that they need volunteers to join the council. And she's right on the money. It's a great way to learn about the town, be creative, and provide great programs for people, so. So it's a great committee for anyone that's new to that sort of thing. So. That's all I have. And Steve is here.
Thanks.
Hey, Steve. Hello. Okay, we had a busy quarter. As you may recall, we had 3 interns hired by Mass Hire who worked with us here in July and August, and they did quite a lot of work. We've got a lot of what we call B-roll, but it's archive video of all the town buildings and parks and the cemeteries. And they did some trailers, and that stuff's good to have if, say, we want to access it for the TCTV news program or another program. And my favorite moment was when we were interviewing the Baldwinville School Housing Project developers, and they said, and Ashlyn, who's still in high school, was asking them the questions, and they said, "You came up with these questions?" Yes. And that was a cool moment.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite moments. Department initiatives are establishing more structure for our staff to be more productive. And Dottie's taken a big lead on that, as well as cleaning and organizing our closet space. If you know me, this is a big deal. And now her challenge is to get me to go through that box of tangled cables in there and figure out what's what.
Best of luck.
I'll probably just throw it in the space
And
involved.
the odds be ever.
Oh, nobody wants RGB here, right? We can
No.
get rid of all that stuff. Thank you.
Still make that?
We have some grants, applications out there. We're hopeful on the community, on the digital equity partnership. We did not get a community foundation grant for our signature Montechusett Scene Show that we'd like to do, but we'll just have to decide whether we want to do that ourselves. And it's no time to quit, right? It's time for grit. So we produce a lot of staff programs. Have been a busy shop, and we took a whiff on doing a sponsorship for Red Apple, and turned it into a sponsorship worth twice as much, which I think is
Nice.
cool. And Hannah came through on the video for it.
Thank
So
you.
she did an awesome job on that. We've been sending photographers out throughout the region for big events like the Bolton Fair and the Johnny Appleseed Festival. What we're finding out is that we have trouble finding photos of these events. So now we have them.
Oh.
And we're finding out the needs of, these area event planners with that, even though, we can complain we can't find photography of it. So hopefully we're building a good bank of that. We are going to have to start considering freelancers for Montechusett TV, even though I think it's come a long way, especially looking for, so any photographers out there, or we're looking for someone who wants to get into the live music scene locally, because that stuff changes a lot. And it'd be good to say who's playing where. And I think people could be interested in it. We've been playing tech troubleshooting, whack-a-mole with buffering issues here and interference. We record to Zoom as a second backup. And in 300 meetings, we've used it about 3 times. We used it 3 times the other week. So the buffering sometimes in prime time, people hop on.
and stream, and we're affected by it, even though we're taking speed tests, we're flying out of here, we're flying out of Baldwinville location where the TV station is, so I think it's just something to talk to our cable operator about at some point.
If you record as a cloud or local when you do your Zoom, you know?
We're recording at simultaneously to a TV server hard drive in Baldwinville and to the cloud with YouTube. And to the cloud with Zoom. So we're recording to 3 places at once. So. And.
Can I just ask that the sidebars, it's kind of hard to hear. You know, that we've had a couple going on out there. Thank you.
And the buzzing we're trying to take care of, it seems to affect us during the afternoon, not as much at night, although we did have it for 1 week, and we just purchased a few $100s of higher quality shielded cabling behind you, and it's been sounding good today.
Good.
So hopefully keep your
I mean,
fingers crossed.
Good.
Yeah, where was I? Oh, the analytics look good. We're 40% up on Facebook reach, and the number of posts are down 40%. So maybe less is more, and Hannah does a great job keeping that up. We did get a couple big pushes. And a lot of the lifestyle stuff and the event stuff does very, very well. YouTube's holding steady. Big news, luminous lanterns edged out Tonka toys.
Say it isn't so.
I know, huh? Yeah, and select board meetings came in 6th and 8th, and a surprise at number 7 is a planning board meeting from 2019
Oh, geez.
on
Now it's going
cannabis
viral.
zoning overlays, which jumped 200 views in a few days. So something's going, it's on a playlist somewhere, and somebody has an interest in that. And, you know, if I were a lawyer in that industry, I'd probably be looking at zoning overlays and things like that too. So it was a good discussion. I just think it's interesting how information is disseminated now. And, you know, newspapers didn't deal with this. And that's a good thing because we can find news ways to get information out there like that. And last but not least, the Montechusett TV website is showing very healthy growth. We're up to about 2,000 views a month. Nowhere near where we want to be, but it's looking good. And a lot of that's on Dottie's work and assigning and maintaining the calendar. We've got Logan, Caitlin, and Erin all working on it. And now we can go out and talk to partners.
I wanted to kind of like a
Great.
follow up with you. I had asked about the farmers market and based on what I saw TCTV supporting, I kind of felt like, you know, they were superstars and it was going well because of your coverage of it. And I think I really enjoyed that, to be able to see the different vendors. So from a marketing perspective, he's definitely in your corner. You know, if you wind up integrating TikTok or something to try, you know, or you wind up having a little bit more outreach with vendors. But I really appreciate what TCDB does for those local initiatives, especially farmers market.
Well, thank you. It's fun to do, and it's a good way, actually, to train personnel on the cameras, and we go out, we do the interviews, and if the bakery lady is there, we buy some of her.
Any questions for Steve? Hearing none. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you very
and Drew. In your packet, you'll see the memo from Michelle Cody that Jackie was talking about. I just want to be able to. Michelle's not here to brief it, or we didn't talk through it, but there's definitely a need out there. You know, if it pleases the board, I'd just like to read at least a paragraph. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right. I'm sure I'm gonna finish up. I'm sure people gave more during the height of COVID-19. Because of these statistics, the food pantry has had to constantly evaluate and make changes accordingly. We were spending an average of $4,500 a month at Market Basket to supplement the food donations from the community. Needless to say, we had to stop buying many items and are now spending about $3,000 a month. We continue to make monthly pickups of about 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of food at the Worcester County Food Bank. This is a lifesaver. We also continue to get regular donations from the Country Hen, Kitchen Garden, Petersham Pet Food Task Force, bread from Hannaford's, and occasional items from BJ's. We are also in full swing to provide Thanksgiving boxes to 75 families. They also go on to talk about, they have had to, they used to not ask where people were coming from. They've had to limit it now to only the towns and city that border Templeton, and they don't want to further reduce it. So whatever the town can do to help as we get, as we're poised to make some final decisions with our, or at least the final obligation plan for ARPA, or if the community is aware, if you work for a large corporation and you can make I don't want to tell anyone to solicit, but it would, to receive donations or otherwise. Let's not forget that there are people out there that really need this kind of food assistance. And Michelle, I really appreciate, where am I looking? Oh, yeah, Michelle, I really appreciate you writing this memo to give us a heads up on how things were, and that Jackie will bring that to our attention, and it's in our packet. So I don't know if anyone else has anything they'd like to say about the food pantry, but I just want to make sure that that is put out there. Hearing none, we are ready to continue. That concludes the finance, the development services, and the community services report as I see it in here. I didn't forget anything, right? Okay. Nope. All right, we're going to move on to action related to Medex retiree health benefits renewal. Mr. Lamontagne, you want to go first?
It's up to you. Members of the board, I handed to you an updated form from the MIA Health Benefits Trust. This basically is going to replace what was given to you in your packets. What ended up happening here, and Mr. Lamontagne will be able to back us on this, is that if you take a look at the retiree rate history on the second page that was given to you in your packets, you'll notice that the year over year has been either a 0% increase, or we had a year where we had a reduction, or it's been a very low 1% increase as far as the rates go. So the original that you were given would have represented a 6% increase on insurance rates for the coming year. Mr. Lamontagne was not satisfied with that, and therein requested another option. And the reason you got the new piece of the new page this afternoon, and for the room, by the way, a stock of them was dropped outside on the table outside if you want to take a look at it as well. The reason you got this is because the MIA came back with another option for us, the Medicare PPO Blue Freedom. And that, as you can see, at $334 is consistent, actually a little bit lower than what we've had previously. And to your to Mr. Lamontagne's calculations, if about 50% of the people who are currently on the Medex 2 program were to jump to the Medicare PPO Blue Freedom, we'd be looking at basically a 0% increase, or a very 0% or a very slight increase for the coming fiscal year. Did I pretty much cover that?
You did a great job, Mr. Rebard. I think that's important to know. When I got this Medex renewal of over 6.01%, we went to the IAC and we had a meeting yesterday, the Insurance Advisory Committee for the town. And Kevin Pecos with NP did a fabulous job and suggested that we look at the Medicare Advantage plan. But we were able to get it as an option, but we have to have the Medex 2 plan. So folks, retirees will have the option to choose the Medicare Advantage plan, which represents a roughly 4% reduction from our current rates. I think this is you have one option where it's 6%, you have another option where it's roughly 4.5% of a reduction. I think this is I just had a conversation with our accountant just before the meeting. We're going to be able to make this work. We're looking at having a meeting with the retirees so that they're aware of the Medex 2 plan versus the Medicare Advantage plan. We'll have a meeting with the retirees to explain the difference with NFP. And I think it's a good thing that this happened. It's a lot better than just getting a Medex 2 renewal at 6%. So overall, I want to say great job by the IAC. They recommended this.
Okay, that was my opinion.
Correct. They recommended this, and Maya provided us with the Medicare Advantage plan. So that's all I have, and Mr. Rivard pretty much summed it up quite well.
Could I so for the board's action this evening, actually have two questions. Let me start with the easier one first. Tell me about prescription drugs within these plans, or are you able to elaborate this? Is it represent more out-of-pocket cost?
What I see on the comparison chart is basically the same. The difference between these two plans, I want to make this clear. In the Medex 2 plan, if you're a retiree that travels, for example.
Yeah.
The Medex 2 plan is very stable, where the Medicare Advantage plan doesn't have the coverage that the Medex 2 plan has.
Right.
That's the kind of the difference between the two plans.
I just want to make sure that we're mindful of prescription drugs, because that can be a hidden danger.
For many of our retirees, that's a backbreaker.
Yeah.
How does this,
Also for our
I have-
current employees as well, not just our retirees. I mean, pretty expensive, isn't it?
Any other rebuttal on prescription drugs? All right, so, and then the second thing that we're doing this evening, it wouldn't matter which plan you wind up settling on, IAC recommendation. The board is basically just moving forward with going with Maya again today.
Your motion would be, I move to renew with Maya to include a Medicare Advantage option. Mr. Chair.
Okay,
it's kind of
go ahead, Terry.
off the cuff? Because when someone turns 65, they have to decide Medicare, what is it, Medicare A to B? Is that, how does that
Would
compare with this?
It's 65 Medicare, and as I understand it, if their spouse is on Medicare, they could
Yeah.
also jump on
Correct,
as well. So there's different, it's all set by federal
yeah.
and
So
rules
this is
and everything.
completely different from that?
It's basically, the requirements are the same for the Medex 2, like
Okay.
being 65. And if I'm incorrect, the accountant could certainly jump in here because she does a great job
Do they
administrating.
have to have two plans? Is that what it is?
It's, what that is a supplemental insurance, so it's like a secondary.
Mhm.
So once they have Medicare is their primary.
Right.
insurance, it's either secondary to cover what Medicare doesn't.
Understood.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's, thanks
Thanks,
for the
Kelly.
clarification.
Medicare pays first.
Yes.
So we would be coordinating with the accountant's office. I'm getting this meeting set up with all the retirees. Kelly's got all the contact information. So that's going to be our next step if the board were to approve this evening.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes,
just a little further clarification. It may slightly muddy the waters, but the Medicare Plan B at age 65, there is no opt-out. And there's actually a substantial penalty if you don't
Don't.
declare and name it. So this is giving an option that will fill that gap very nicely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
I move to renew with MIAA to include both the Medex 2 and the Medicare Advantage options.
Second,
Second.
we had the second. Motion and the second. Any further discussion? Hearing nothing further on the motion to renew with the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association to include the Medicare Advantage Plan and Medex 2, how would you vote, Tim?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes,
Matt?
Yes.
Julie?
yes.
And I vote yes as well. Great. All right, next item G is in golf, action related to a request for proposals 2022-2023 CDBG Administration Award.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the CDBG for the project, the $1.35 million that the town was awarded. Mrs. Griffiths as well as Mr. Rivard went to the announcement. These are grant funds that cover the administration of it, and we went out for request for proposals with all the federal that we're required to do. And we received only one proposal from Breezeway Farm Consulting Inc. You have probably all met Linda
Yeah.
at some point. She's
She was
great to
in.
work with. She's already met with our department heads here. They're familiar with her and I'm pretty confident she has the skill set and the knowledge, and you could see right within her proposal, quite a bit of experience working on CDBG or working with EOHLC. And we're pretty fortunate that she'll be kind of taking the lead on the entire project. So I would request that the board award to Breezeway Farm Consulting Inc. contingent upon EOHLC approval. We're very fortunate that she put in a proposal. She'll do a fabulous job on this project. And she would be here, but she couldn't attend, but she said that you all met her, so.
Contingent on EOH,
LC.
we'll see.
Well, they CDBG, they changed it to economic opportunities, housing, living communities, or something to that effect, some different acronyms. That's why I'm so used to CDBG. But they merged it with economic development.
I would move to award the CDBG Grant Administration Award to Breezeway Farm Consulting contingent on EOHLC.
Second,
I have a motion in a second. Any further?
She did go to the grant awards for gardeners. She's done. Passionate.
Mr. Chair, just a comment.
Yes.
When we throw acronyms out, can we please explain what they actually are?
Okay.
I know it's an executive office of, but what does HLC stand for? Just to remove any confusions.
Living communities, as I understand it.
And I do understand that's a recent change in how they've reorganized that organization structurally as well.
Yeah, and on the CDBG Community Development Block Grant.
Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. Yeah.
I'm
I
horrible
knew
at
it's housing, I just didn't. know.
They just got a $400 million
explaining acronyms.
Yeah.
Ed Augustus just got a $400 million grant.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, on the motion to award the CDBG Administration Award to Breezeway Farm Consulting contingent on executive housing and livable communities. How would you vote, Tim?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Nat?
Yes.
Julie?
yes.
I vote yes as well. Congratulations to Breezeway Farm Consulting. Okay, next item on our agenda is action related to the intermunicipal agreement for animal control and inspection services. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Sue, Sandra,
Sarah.
do we know each other?
No. He's our newest.
Okay, not a guard member? National Guard?
Yeah.
All right, I know you. Okay, ladies, come on up. So for the mic, you can slide a chair over if you need to. And Adam, if I could, do you want to start?
Yes, so this is coming in front of you a little bit later. A unique opportunity arose for our animal control officers with HIMSA getting a new location in Winchendon. And now that that town building is empty, there was a lot of interest amongst the animal control officers. So I had a meeting and with the interim town manager, Bill McKinney. Great. You have a great town manager over there. Very fortunate to have him. At least hopefully he gets the permanent position. But I will say this represents savings to the town of Templeton of roughly $7,000 in our services with Winchendon. and they'll be able to use a facility. I'm sure they're going to tell you how much they really are looking for. And I think they want to move in there tomorrow if they can, but I still gotta, yeah. So with that, I'll leave it to them to explain to the board why they're so interested in using that building. But pretty much this contract, for the most part, is a lot of the same language. It just includes the reduction in the monthly allotments that the town would have to pay, town of Templeton would have to pay, and includes that they would also be using our facility here in town, and we hope you'll enjoy your stay here, subject to the board approving this intermunicipal agreement coming to Templeton. We're very fortunate to have a great group of folks working with us and providing this great resource. So to Mr. Chair, to the
Sure. Susan, Cassandra, what was your first name? Sarah. Welcome.
Thank you.
Anything to say about it? You can talk about the facility, talk about the agreement, or just maintaining our awesome relationship.
Well, would you like us to explain, Adam, why we wanted the Templeton shelter so much?
How it works for you, sure.
Oh, gosh, so, all right, so we're very excited because it's much, it's bigger than the Winchendon shelter. And I think we were getting the trailer as well. So that's an added bonus. There's more room for the dogs. There's more room outside for the dogs. There's room where we could actually take cats. You guys can just roll with it, and whatever you think of too. More professional. People can actually enter the building, whereas in Winchendon, we have a little row and all the kennels were there, so we had to smush in. We'll have room for an office. You know, so it'll be like a main base for us, really, to be, you know, to do our work, we're gonna go electronic with a lot of things now, reports and all our paperwork, so we'll be able to sit there and do our stuff, and it'll be fabulous.
Sounds like you're able to like improve your capability.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Tenfold.
that's
yeah.
awesome. That is fantastic.
Yeah,
Right now, all we're doing is working out of the pickup truck.
yeah,
We don't have an office.
right.
If we have to file reports, we have to go indeed to the PD. And this way, having the building.
Yeah.
Like Stan was saying, we have offices.
Yeah.
And we could have an area where the residents could come to talk to us.
Mhm.
Instead of having to go to this channel and that channel or an email or whatever.
Right.
Would be more access to us, more
Mhm.
in touch with communities.
For the animals as well, the Templeton shelter is far more sanitary.
Mhm.
The building has drainage, it has ventilation.
Okay.
Currently existing now, we have only 4 kennels and it's just cinder block walls. So therefore, without drainage cleaning properly, is difficult to maintain center conditions.
Yeah.
Especially in order to pass the kennel inspections with MDR, there has to be the proper sanitizing in case an animal is sick, has any kind of infectious disease or parasites. The new shelter also has a bathing area, so we can treat parasites or, you
Does
know.
it?
And just the ventilation.
Sarah,
alone. I'm sorry, Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources, they're the ones who can inspect our shelters.
Okay.
If they were to inspect Winchendon's currently, it would not pass for safety reasons as well as sanitary reasons.
I'm trying to drag Winchendon and all.
It's just a very cool building.
Yeah.
And the Templeton shelter was built on donations in the intent of it being a
Yeah.
shelter.
Oh, and it has a washer and dryer. We
Yes.
have a washer and dryer.
Which is huge
there.
for us alone because we're bringing.
Just have an
potential-
early Christmas present.
Yeah.
Big time.
Currently,
Big time.
all linens we're washing in our residence, so we're bringing parasites and germs that where we have personal pets,
Yeah.
potentially contaminating them as well. Also sanitary reasons, we need to be able to properly sanitize bowls and buckets, the animals are using between animals.
Okay.
And currently we can't do that because all we have right now is just a garden hose outside over there, so like with nothing. Also, like as she stated, professionalism. In order to pick up an animal, an owner needs to come and sign a release form, pay citation, provide proof of documentation. Currently, we do that on like the trunk of their car because there's no office in an inclement weather. It's embarrassing and not professional. Because a lot of times we do have to speak with the owners about, you know,
you know, standards, leash laws, and it takes time sometimes to release an animal. So to be able to have an office space, it's professional, it's safer, probably that
Yeah.
makes some feature. We also, storage space is a huge issue in our current location. The Templeton shelter has plenty of storage space between the two sheds out back. And then in the building as well, there's, you know, closet space. We have, a chest freezer where we have to put domestic animals that are unclaimed, that are deceased. We're just putting that right now, right? That's our desk area where it's just next to the dogs, dog shelter, kennels. And then all of our blankets and food is all kind of stored floor to ceiling in the hallway. That's all we have. Yeah.
Could say the
So I would
Templeton is
definitely-
about 4 times bigger than Winchester, you know, it offers more space and it's wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely pay attention to, like you were saying, you know, sanitation, cleaning and inspection.
We have we'll have a
Safety.
quarantine area better
Yep,
at
safety.
Templeton, yeah.
Safety for all of you, safety
Yeah.
for the animals.
Yes.
Yes.
Question for Adam. Adam, I just was wondering how this gelled with our bylaw, and I was looking like they do a barn book. And then they report to the, on M, maintaining an accurate record of the animal control officer activities. Do they, in our bylaws, they have to provide a quarterly report to like Lori Weeder's office?
Correct,
Does that have to be in here?
correct. Well,
It
that's,
says
that's,
all, keeping detailed record of action. I just-
that's something that we're coordinating with Winston. I think that we've been updated on that. I'm providing it to Lori Weed, I believe. Will be moving forward.
Report to Lieutenant Walski.
It Winston, correct.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get it where, and I know I sometimes have to go to the town manager.
Yeah.
Getting it where, whether Wolski sends it off to Lori Weed or however we do it. But that's something that we'll have to
Iron out,
iron out.
but it doesn't have to be specifically mentioned.
I think that's a simple request.
Okay.
Okay.
What was that? please?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just a quick question for Bob. Bob, there was no other use. Were you involved in this discussion on the use of that town building
Well,
at some
I
point?
submitted to the board and everybody
Mhm.
several years. For expansion of the DPW offices.
That's what I thought. So I was a little confused on that.
I'm a little disappointed that there was no discussion.
Okay. Good to know for the record.
It is what it is, I guess, so. The only other concerns I have is waste disposal, and there's no restroom over there.
Okay.
I'm not budgeted for that building right now, because they were paying the electrical and sewer, so. We'll have to incorporate that in my, like, 25 plus.
So your budget's gonna go up to maintain that town building,
What's the money that's coming in?
and the money that we're saving is 7,000.
Units.
Thank you for that.
Well, I gotta say something. I do. Any savings the town can do and have an agreement with another community and
Mhm.
provide essential resources to
Oh, absolutely.
them, I think is critical.
Mhm.
As,
Yeah, we had the
as-
discussion before when we were talking about that space, about really taking a look at, taking a hard look at the DPW's space to be able to come up with it. Whether it's money or action to be able to come up with a design to give a better facility than what he has now. He's got partial concrete, partial wood structures, out of all the different infrastructure projects in the town. That is certainly one that I would be very willing to try and commit resources to give our DPW a 21st century, just, you know, facility that supports them, and everything that he wound up talking about, locker rooms, proper repair facility, all the appropriate HVAC and exhaust removal, all those different things. I still would like to proceed with that, but I understand when you got a 5-pound bag and you got 10 pounds of stuff that you've tried to be able to provide the services. I'm sorry about that, Bob. You know, that it seemed like a strike while the iron is hot situation, but I want to make sure that we're addressing what your limitations are. And
It's not that I'm against it, it's, I proposed.
Yep.
fee, And there was no discussion with the.
Well, that was my confusion tonight, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Please. Please hear me out and see my problems I'm having.
Okay.
We're outgrowing the facility, the office space.
Yes, you are.
storage, break room, locker, showers.
Yeah.
It's,
well, I still want to make, good neighbors for you. That's really what you're gonna be. You're sharing the same kind of space. I'm really glad that you're able to, our community and Winchendon is gonna be able to expand its services to be able to address whatever issues come up, wild or domestic. So I think that's a great thing, but I definitely want to make sure that we're maintaining, one of the core public services that we wind up having in the community, so. Heard. All right, I would entertain, if there's no other discussion, at least let's get a motion out on the floor.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I move to approve the intermunicipal agreement for animal control and inspection services as presented and protect the town administrator to sign.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion?
This couldn't be amended to add to, as long as it gels with the bylaws, how would you word
I'm
that?
not 100% sure I understand what you're talking about.
In the bylaw. it's a-
What bylaw?
It's the bylaw, the animal bylaw.
Take a look real quick. $137.7. Specifically, you were talking about a report.
Quarterly report.
Adam, do you have any input on that while I'm looking?
What? I think it could be resolved by a request. I mean, this has already been negotiated on and pretty much final draft form between the town manager in Winchendon and me. I think that could be resolved with just following up with Lieutenant Wolski.
It doesn't need to be.
Mr. Chairman, can I just make a quick comment on that?
Yeah, you can.
In the past, animal control officers in the town of Templeton have always answered to the police chief and given quarterly reports to the police chief. So what they're saying is they currently do that with a lieutenant at the Winchendon Police Station, and so I agree with, that's a quick fix. We don't have to be worried too much about a bylaw situation here. There is no bylaw situation. I don't think, I think it's just,
I would agree with you.
correcting, because it's
found-
actually in the contract that I just read.
Yep.
That they would be reporting to our police chief quarterly.
He would put it in.
I would think
This
that
is
he
a
would put it in his
bylaw.
quarterly.
They're already if they're already complying with it, it says the animal control
already
officer shall
complying.
keep accurate, detailed records of the confinement and disposition of all dogs held in custody, all bite cases reported, and the results of investigations. The animal control officer shall maintain a telephone log of all calls received regarding dogs and submit a quarterly report summarizing the log to the board. That's what she's talking about. So
The board, but, so, to the chief, in other words, to the chief and him to us, is that what I'm hearing?
That's basically how it would work. It would be in the quarterly police chief's report.
but nothing in this.
Any small amount of information he may or may not have received from their animal control people, that.
To Terry's, so
so I'm
nothing in
confused
this
on the question.
contract would supersede the animal control officer bylaw. So if they're still in compliance,
Right.
this does not have to define that. You already have the bylaw that's defining that. When you bring that up, I just wish you would add some specificity so we know exactly what it is that we were talking about. But I think that my view is, to answer your question, is that nothing in this contract would, the
Mine
contract
would.
shall be governed and construed in accordance with the laws of the Commonwealth laws, Massachusetts without regard to conflict of laws principles. So it doesn't need to refer to it if it's already in.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a good question though.
And further, the barn book, that's a whole different set of mass general law that dictates that. There's no way around it. It's just, it's one of those
Barn inspection.
barn inspection and then
Okay.
the barn book that they're supposed to give us a report between. It's supposed to have to be every year between September, December, and then we're supposed to see a report in early January.
Oh, you guys got your work done.
We already
Right
do all
now.
that. We're gonna do all that.
They're on it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none on the motion to approve the intermunicipal agreement for animal control and inspection services as presented and for the town administrator to sign. How do you vote? Tim,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes,
Julie,
No,
and I vote yes. So that is a 5 and 4. Sorry, 4-1. And another.
welcome.
Thank you.
Nothing personal. It's the way it was done.
All right, thanks, ladies. I appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thanks, good luck.
Transbaton.
Quartermaster.
125.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
I've
seen him
before.
Good to see you too. Thank you. I
I'm meeting with
her
her,
to the town administrator.
meeting with Bill tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
I'll update him.
Thank you.
enjoy your.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to action item I is in India, action related to declaring Houghton Park surplus. Hello again, Graceland. Are you leading us through or Adam?
I can leave it.
Okay,
So I'll keep it brief because I think we talked about this a couple of select board meetings ago. So basically in 2006, when we were looking for the new community senior center, it came up that Houghton Park at 9 Main Street, Baldwinville was a possible location for that. Long story short, the senior center oversight committee essentially ruled that Houghton Park would not be a good location for the senior center. The current senior center was built. Basically, we just never undesignated Houghton Park for senior center purposes. So right where it says at the bottom, I would just ask that the board would find Houghton Park located 9 Main Street, Baldwinville, no longer needed for senior center purposes and declared surplus.
thank you. Any questions for? Graceland? All right, if there are no questions, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to declare Home Park to no longer be needed for senior center purposes and declared surplus.
Second,
I have a motion, and Tim seconded. Any further discussion? Yes.
Just for clarification for folks that are wondering, oh, why is the board declaring the surplus? This had to be done before the town meeting, and the town meeting is at that point, the legislative body of the town that will vote to transfer control to Parks and Recreation.
Great.
Just so folks understand what we're doing. It's more of a procedural thing. Okay. Thanks, Grayson, for updating.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none on the motion to declare Houghton Park no longer be needed for senior center purposes and declared surplus. How would you vote, Tim?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Matt?
yes.
Julie?
yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thank you, Graceland.
Just a little more to the board. Good thing.
All right, next, action related to, but I don't believe we have any action related tonight as there's no suggested motion, but this is actions by, well, it was actions by the select board for Parks and Recreation, having to do with the resolution. I know Candace as the Commissioner Graves, as the chairperson.
My members are all here,
Perfect.
so I probably have to call me to order for them to be.
I would definitely recommend it if you believe that you are going to violate open meeting law.
Yes, I do.
Okay, then you can call your board.
I'd like to call the meeting to order for Parks and Rec. And at the time of. 7:49. I have with me, Jessica Sutton,
Hi, Jessica.
Derek Sutton,
Hi, Derek.
Hunter Graves.
Hi, Hunter.
South Hampshire.
Thank you for being here. As far as leading off with our discussion this evening, Mr. Lamontagne, are you ready to kick off the discussion or?
I could lead it off, yeah. And then
I just, you know, what?
I'll be really brief about it. When they got their special legislation, it made them essentially a policy-making board by their act, which I
Yeah,
acknowledge.
became very familiar with all the documents that Ann has asked for us to be familiar with.
So the special act passed, and when the special act got through, the select board adopted a resolution creating the Office of Public Services. And then I got word that the policies were updated, removed the Public Services Director, and then inserted the Community Services Director, which is against our resolution in addition to our organizational chart. So that's when I spoke with the chair to have this discussion. I'm hoping it's a productive one. Because I do think they do a lot of volunteer work. I do appreciate what they do. Yeah. It's just more of a issue with the resolution versus the policies that aren't exactly aligning. So
We would like to have clarification on everything.
Okay.
We were told and we were advised by the advisory board to get a policy, which we did comply to that. We passed it, we gave it in to the office and everything. When we did it, we were told in an email that it looked good. There was only a couple of corrections, but we felt as though they didn't warrant it before, so we kept them as is.
Could you come up to,
Yeah.
it would help out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Siobhan.
We did that on our financial and how we ran as a board. We also passed rules of policies about how we do the park itself, because that was also another thing that we had done. We made some policies about our sports and the guidelines for them to put that in order as well. So we've been working very hard since Governor Baker signed us in on December 20th, 2022. This thing that they did for put us under public services happened and it was a June 8th of 2022 prior to Baker doing it. No one asked any of the members of Parks and Rec to ask our input on how we run as a commission and how we do what we do with our volunteers, our actual employees. That includes our coordinators, assistants, and instructors, as well as our umpires, referees, and then we have all of the amazing volunteers that we have that, you know, from coaches to assistants. The way we run is very different than most of the boards that we have in this town. We're a commission, we're commissioners, so we commission these sports and of these jobs that we get, and we're on the ground with them. We work side by side with them. On Saturday, when I was there and there was an issue with the soccer, it was me who they go to as a commissioner. There's the public services is not actually working in the best interest of the public the way it's running right now. So we'd like to have clarification because we feel like that's on the park side of us, but our recreational side is not being served in the community right now.
So, yeah, essentially, we were looking to kind of loop community services back into everything. Not so much cut public services out, you know, we still want to work with those.
Community services as run by Jackie Prime.
Yes, correct. You know, we're looking to the public services, obviously, to take care of our parks and all that, work on all the projects that they're working on us with, you know, bathrooms down there. And all that. But the community services, you know, Jackie's much more familiar with some of the processes that we do as far as recreational sports and trying to get some activities together. And, you know, we feel like community services is a better, you know, department to kind of help us manage and facilitate those activities.
Yeah, we feel the public services is a good fit when it comes to, we have to buy all the equipment for those services. And we find that having Mary Beth working with us on the order aspects has been a wonderful thing. But at the same time, it's been challenging for us on the recreational sports side with some of our employees and stuff. We find that that especially with the board wise, we've gotten more advice on how to stay within the laws of being a board from the community services side, from not just Jackie, from other aspects of it, from TCTV and everybody who's on the community service side. We're in the senior center. We interact with the staff of the senior center on a daily basis by putting in our new rec assistant. This last 2 weeks, I've had to ask Jackie, even though we weren't supposed to be using her, to help us bridge some of the stuff by putting our new assistant into the office. And I can just see, and talking to the staff of the senior center and some of the questions that they ask us and stuff, I just see, and our board has seen that we're being disserviced, we're not being truthful to the community on how we run. It's the commission. It would be our assistant helping us and helping all of our coordinators, our coaches, everybody, all of our staff. And then if we need the help on both sides of the coin, we need recreation with being with community service, and we need that public service with the DPW and all that with the ordering aspects. We need both of these sides, and without both of these sides, we will fail as a commission because it's just not going to work. We just don't see it as a board. I mean, as a commission.
So I guess, yeah.
Are you the vice?
I'm sorry?
Are you the vice?
That would be Jennifer.
That would be Jennifer. I guess what the commission is looking for is, again, clarification on the resolution. And, kind of the select board's recommendations or guidance as to, how to loop all this together. We thought we were doing that the right way. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. We're not 100% sure.
Yeah, we also, me and Jessica was,
Yeah.
she was the chair before, well, Jessica was the chair before and me. And so there's some things about that.
So as your policy exists and the way that I've reviewed it, and the board, if you've taken a look at the stuff, the way you're proposing, no, that's not the way that the resolution was passed. Buildings and grounds is very tied close to Parks and Recreation. He has the public services director has the infrastructure to be able to support that. I heard everything that you just said on how it could work better. My view is that it is more of a personality conflict than
No, it's not. It's actually not.
okay.
That's not actually not. true.
Because even your own published policy acknowledges that you work with public services. I know you want to rewrite it to
Yeah.
be able to do that.
We did
but
pass it.
you cannot appoint something over legislation or what's the resolution that we've put forward. You're not following that policy.
Well, I don't understand. I just,
I can explain it to you.
no, I just want to say, I don't understand that back when we passed it and we sent it to everybody and the Lord, it was on the
When you
floor.
passed it.
Yes, when we
Okay.
did the original version and then, and we can amend it, which we did as a board. A commission, we amended it because that's part of it. It says we can amend it. It was sitting on the floor in the May meeting. And when we changed that revolving account and everybody looked at it, no one came back. And this is the first we've heard of anybody having an issue with what we did. We've been ordered, and I just like to clarify, as a commission, are we supposed to be ordered around?
No.
Are we supposed to
you're
go
up-
against our votes and what we do?
You've invoked the governor a couple of times. Yes, special legislation goes forward and it's signed by the governor, but it was your community that decided to be able to do
Right.
this. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So based on that community, how it was presented to the community and how it went through as special acts, it followed all of the guidelines. You are an oversight. You are policymaking, but you're also oversight for how buildings and grounds, parks and recreation is handled. The way that you're trying to structure it is you're trying to restructure something that the board of selectmen who appoint you and have superseding authority. You're trying to rewrite that to try and meet. Yeah, yes.
No.
How can you say no when you're sitting here telling?
But
me
I
that
don't
you
believe,
voted?
I don't believe that the people, when they voted for it on the floor, the townspeople even knew about a resolution and how it was gonna be pocketed. I don't believe that anybody even realized that we were gonna, they thought, I just don't, I don't know what the intent was, but I don't believe the intent was actually brought out there to the, I mean, we didn't know, and we were the commission. We were the ones that signed into it. We were the ones, like, we didn't know about this whole thing until we tried to hire our rec assistant.
Yeah,
Until that happened, that was the first time I got it in an email. And we had never seen it as a board. We never knew anything about it. You know, they never explained anything to us. We have it all the time. They give us paperwork and tell us we have to do something, but the heads of who goes to those paperwork, they've never told us. No one, we don't get explained. Yeah,
I think that's what, Mr. Curry was trying to.
Yeah.
explain.
yeah,
don't
it's like you can't shop around for structure,
Right.
you know, we're already limited the way that we are. So, you know, whether you knew what was happening with a resolution or not.
Right.
Try and make sure my words don't get out in front of me. Whether we whether you said, well, it would be better, you know, if we were to confer and say, hey, would you like to be under the police department or something?
Right.
I'm not trying to, I'm just saying, you're not trying to shop around for how you fit. It was the best fit for how buildings and grounds, parks and rec would work together for that.
right,
But to be able to, policy is your policy, whether it's legally reviewed or otherwise, it has to make sure that it is nested within what the capabilities are of the community. So that's why we're having the discussion.
right,
All the things that you brought forward, I think that you can actually say, as you're being articulate this evening, to be able to say, here's what's not working. I want to feel better about, or I say the board, I want them to be able to react to it. We want to understand what it is, are the constrictions or otherwise, before you wind up trying to enact changes in personnel or otherwise, because we look to the town administrator to be able to keep all of his full-time resources in check, to be able to balance workload or otherwise, whether it's helping or hurting another committee. We won't know until we wind up getting that information. So everything that you're bringing, again, I want to thank you for when you posted on My Town Government, you got a lot of good things in there.
it was just about clarification.
Right,
What we're
but
looking for.
that's exactly, so rather than bring it to open public comment where we're making sausage about how to best go forward, that's how I feel that you could have addressed it, to be before you wind up having what you believe is a legally sufficient new policy come to us. I go to your current policy and I see it working. To have some kind of cogent way to be able to communicate with us, to say, these are the things that we need to consider. These are the things that, this is how the structure, what made us, not what made us, because I do want to say it was the special acts that in the town that made you, but how we are going to integrate you into the overall structure of the town.
Right,
Tell us that. And I think you've done that. I think we're just kind of going, we're jumping too many yards down the field before we wind up putting the ball in the end zone for you.
right.
To be able to support what your needs are.
But
I'll stop there. Did you have
Oh.
a rebuttal?
I was just gonna also add up, when they first did their policies, they were fine, they were legally reviewed, it's just that they were changed with the public services director removed from policies,
Okay.
and then the community
That's not
services
posted on the
director.
Website now, right?
No, because you just did it this past week.
So,
Okay.
so
it
that's
hasn't
that's
gone
when
up
I
yet.
spoke with
I
you
can't get
about.
online right now. It's locked us out, so we can't change it. We're having technical issues with the page for Parks and Rec.
Okay.
And it started last week before we even voted, so that's why it had never gotten changed, because of that aspect.
Okay.
Just like sending it out, just technical issues, getting things out after you vote and stuff. It's just that we just would like also clarification. We hire employees and we're on the ground working with them and telling them to do things. But people who aren't with us are giving different orders. It makes it fundamentally harder to do what we do. And it has put a lot of strain over the last several months on our commission.
So, yeah, so the question there would be, the employees that, the commission does request and we do end up hiring, Are those Parks and Rec employees or are those employees kind of to be managed
By public services.
where needed?
So they're Parks and Rec. You, as Adam stated very appropriately earlier, you guys do amazing work and you should be proud for what you've done. And that's not just lip service, you really are. We want to make sure that we're supporting you with the infrastructure support.
Right,
Tell you what to do,
right.
but to have that background support, not out in front leading the charge. You guys are doing that and you're doing it well. We want to make sure that we're supporting you, but allow the town to be able to make that structure for you without dictating it from a resource perspective.
But that's what we've been experiencing is the dictatorship and that's why I say on the other side of the coin. Yeah, well, the other side, yeah, the other side, we were
That sounds
supported.
personality
Well,
based.
no, well, it wasn't, it was more like on the other side, like I didn't know, like there's like things I don't know that I was getting the information from, I was being helped, like saying you have your quarterly report or you have to do this. Just a reminder, I lost all of that.
So quarterly report, no other commission does that for us. So
Yeah,
when you were sitting in front of us before and you were, you said, I'm unprepared, you had stuff. I don't think we should be doing that to you. I think that you've got better things to do rather than try. That was kind of a legacy. I mean, that's kind of open. They're a commission. I don't understand why we're asking them to do reports.
I agree.
Okay. Yes.
They're a commission, but they're operating as a department. They always have.
Okay.
I think it's
That's-
always been a problem. And there should be a recreation coordinator on staff that they work with, not that works under. That's just my,
Okay.
they operate as a department.
well,
Jessica, you're the vice. Yes. Between, not stopping the conversation, but what I would offer to you is to come up with a white paper. A white paper basically describes what the problem is. You started to do that again. I said, some of the stuff that you put together, it's a lot.
yeah,
If you could synthesize it down to be able to say, this is what the current conditions are. You can give the conditions to say, we've got town operating authority, we've got state operating authority. But if you can decide to define what the problem statement is, and then what you're recommending for a path forward. Because I don't want to go round and round and for you to be unhappy about.
I do want to say something, is that recently I have sat with other Massachusetts parks. Excuse me, in the organization, which is called Massachusetts Recreation and Parks.
Mhm.
And I sat with many different towns and how I could hear in the meetings in the meeting while I was in there, how they were structured and how they did things. And they are,
Difference that.
yeah, so some of it's very different. It's like across the board in the state, it's very different. But what I noticed, the one fundamental is that recreation is its own entity. It's not being run by any other department. There's no other.
What kind of communities when you're
Well,
talking?
Fitchburg was sick. There was Fitchburg, Clinton was sitting in there's a bunch of them that were at
You're talking about,
Cogswell Park.
again, when I say
Yeah.
town infrastructure to support you,
Yeah,
we don't have a lot to be
Right.
able to do that.
Yes.
And you're a very robust commission to be able to, and you've got a very ambitious programs.
well, many of our things are fee-based.
Right, but I'm
bringing
saying
out
you're a robust commission, you have a very ambitious program that services a lot of the community, and you get nothing but raise for that. You're not gonna have the same kind of support in some of the places you're talking about, where you can have, they have a budget, they have people on staff, they're integrated into another department. We're trying to be able to at least have that skeleton structure that winds up being able to support you. Allow us to be able to make that decision. Like I said, just rather than to shop around for what you think is best for you, let us be able to decide that. The resolution is all about that. That's why the structure was.
Well, we would like you to look at parks and what we do and like come see it. Be a part of, go to basketball, see what it is, what we do, understand what it is we do and how, like how we see it fits, how we see it, why we see it, we need both of them, both
Yep.
sides of the coin.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah,
So I can go way back and say I have a little bit of history in town with sports with my children, and I'm sure some of us sitting on this board have. I agree with Holly's comment that the following this whole thread of circumstances, you are not a department, but you are behaviorally acting like you're a department. So we're just concerned that we want to make sure nobody's going onto the wrong side of the street accidentally. Do you know what I mean?
I
We
just
want
want-
to
I
be
just-
there to
It's just-
support all
please
of
let her
this.
I just want to say that
You
that's
know?
because you,
Candace,
But again, I don't care what the reason, I'm just saying what we're trying to clarify is the fact that you are a commission. I sat on that commission. You know, I get it. I get it. But your commission is currently questionable on certain situations and you can't shop around. It's legally you can't. Like, I want this person to oversee me, but I don't want this person and we don't need this because we have our own revenue coming in. We don't have to answer
And I
to
don't
this
have
or
to-
this or this.
we don't have to
you
look
know,
backward to
We
try.
don't have to look
figure it out. I'd rather
backwards to
look
figure
forward.
we
this
were
out.
told that we can't even, we were not, even though we did, like I said, we did have to ask about the building to ask things about community service. We are told now that we're not supposed to ask anything from community service. So that doesn't make any sense.
Dialogue, but in terms of trying.
Well, we
to
can't
be-
get any help from, we won't be allowed to get any help from that. That's what we're being told. That's, I mean, maybe we misunderstood, but
Listen,
that's what we're
Jessica,
told.
if you could put together what it is, like, again, I use the term white paper is to basically just give us that basic understanding. So you're able to say, this is what the conditions are. This is the problem statement and what's not working, and this is our recommendation to go forward. I'd love to see a copy of what you passed. I can read your face very much plainly right now that you're.
No, I'm just not understanding. I just don't
That
understand. I'm completely, it's over my head. No, I'm just not understanding. I don't. So I don't understanding.
you're looking to Terry.
No, I'm just looking at,
So-
I was just looking at.
What are you looking for? Oh,
Because
there's
I'm,
the-
I'm,
Bob's
I'm
looking
pretty
for it.
confused. First of all,
Because we don't have, we
first of all,
don't have what they.
I have to,
require.
first of all, I have to, for the record, say I was employed by Parks and Rec. I have a personal relationship with the Graves family. They work for me with swimming. And I go a long way back to my youth, working with recreation in Marlboro, getting paid to work. So I do have a vested interest and a passion to see this resolved.
Mhm.
I'm really curious about what Holly said. I know we can't go backwards, but I don't get, is it a department or is it, what changed? What changed?
I don't think anything changed. I think in Templeton, which this is a rare community that has a rec department that's paid for by the voters, whether it's, bringing funds in or coming out of the budget. Any other town, Athol, the bigger town, they don't have a rec department. There's a lot of towns that don't. So this is a community that's lucky they have that. But
Is
they've
department
always,
the same as commission? I
No.
mean, how can
no,
it?
no. So Bob has a department, Department of Public Services. We're employed. Where, we have employees that work for us. The rec commission is, it's kind of a unique thing, but it's not a department. They're not an employee, in the traditional sense. All of us are, if you're on a committee, you're considered an employee. But they're a commission. They're supposed to do the same thing like the Board of Selectmen does. Like, can you picture any of the five of you coming in and typing up some letters for me? No. The rec commission is doing the job that they should be overseeing. They should have volunteers that are doing this.
I agree, under chapter 45.
Yeah, and there should be a person on staff, I think year round, full time, that is the recreation coordinator. That is a staff department member that would work under the Department of Public Services. They would do the purchasing. They could come borrow the credit card to do it. They would do all the things that Candace has been putting 40+ hours a week or more doing above and beyond. And they would oversee that and make the vote and set the policy. And that's how it should be run. And there should be a staff person that does everything else.
And what
It's,
happens to the commission?
So we'd be glorified,
No, you're not.
talk,
certified.
oversight,
Oversight of
just a,
Here,
yeah,
Look at it. So the Board of Selectmen, what happened?
it would just take away our power.
set policy, you sign the warrants, you have your job that you do. That's all they should be doing. There should be a staff that does that, and that's on the town to put that in the budget and have a full-time rec coordinator that does all of that stuff that she's been volunteering to do.
Who is Deith Cabrera?
She's the assistant, administrative assistant that was just hired.
Is that what she's gonna?
She does all of it. So she works with she'll be working with all the scheduling to help out with scheduling for our sports, and giving, aid to all of our coordinators and coaches and stuff with the scheduling. She's already started filing all of our records, putting everything into order.
Okay, so I just wanted to clarify that because
Yeah,
I.
she
I
help-
heard-
she-
her date's on your
So
website.
so she's that rec assistant job. And so basically she assists the commission. She assists all of our employees.
Yep.
And besides us.
She's task force under what department?
I put the funds under Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
With the,
Under
with,
what
with,
depart-
with,
under
with
what
the board,
department do they fall under?
administrative assistant.
Specifically, which department?
Parks and Rec.
Okay,
What, it falls under Parks and Rec budgets. I think the way the resolution was done, I should have put the funds under buildings and grounds. But instead, what I did is I put it under Parks and Rec after meeting with them over, or Candace over the budget time. And and I did a lot of research on this because I put the funds in there, it actually gives them oversight over that position. But the way
chapter 45, like a to a T.
but the way we
just
structured
doing
it,
That way. That's what the confusion is. We say we're not a department head, so I am the one signing for the.
I'm doing a point of order because
For
the
the
town
record.
administrator was just rudely interrupted.
Thanks.
I don't
Okay.
think that's necessary.
Candace, if you're here,
I'm just trying to
now
understand.
you've interrupted me.
Oh, I'm just trying to
Hey, this is
understand.
my meeting.
Oh, I don't, then I guess I can't do it.
I think what you need to do
I
is
can go
calm
back.
down. Candace, I think what you do is very important. I'm going to continue to talk. What you do is very important, and I wish you would have composed yourself. So, Mrs. Vice Commissioner, do you understand what I was asking for? Okay. Help her out. I think we can get through this structurally, and you're going to have to call you. It sounds like we're getting to a close unless there were other comments. Let me just finish with this. So I think I was clear about it. It doesn't have to be a book. It really just needs to say, what is the conditions? What is the problem statement? What are some of the considerations there? And then what are your recommendations? If we need to fix something that is a better structure and better fit for you makes you operate more efficiently, I'm all for it. Okay. I'm not going to go, we're not going to try and go against what the town wanted, as Candace said, what the governor said. Just come up with something that's cohesive, that you bring it together, everything, and it makes it fit. If you want us to come to your meeting to have this, so I don't know, she left the room, but like we're on your turf, invite us. We can, finish this out to say who would like to. You're kind of, you would be a great fit, but you'd have to make a decision whether you felt like that was, I think you might be conflicted with that if you wanted to go to the meeting. But I think it should be one person. Do you think
I
you'd be a
would be
good fit
willing.
for that, or?
I would be willing if Carrie's
Okay.
uncomfortable with it.
Invite
Just
us
so
to your
you're
meeting
aware.
because
If
we
you're
want to be able to
uncomfortable
have
with it,
that
I'm
discussion.
willing to do it.
You coming back?
Yeah, I have to go back.
Oh, okay,
Mr.
okay.
Chair, I just was hoping to hear what Adam had to say to what he was finishing. Are you finished? or do
I
you-
just
wanna
want,
finish and then
I'll
we'll
end
go
this on a positive note, because overall, I think you got good board members. I don't want you to
Yeah.
think, it's just, we had an issue with your policies versus our resolution. And, sometimes via email, you might misinterpret what I'm saying or what a board member would regardless. But I do want to know, I think the townsfolk are very impressed with all the things that are getting done under parks and recreation and the select board working together on that scoreboard that was sitting in the concession stand, 2 years, 3 years? Finally up, running. Great coordination by all to get that done. The bathrooms through CPC funding. Our office took priority, working with Candace to get that bid out, and public services coordinating, getting those done. I'm not sure if Candace will let you all know, she attended the bid opening today at 2. The pickleball came in, and it came in at about $103,000.
Nice.
So that project will be moving forward. There's a lot of good things moving forward. The Houghton Park article that's going to be on the fall town meeting warrant with CPC money. We have a lot of good things coming. I consider a lot of this stuff more of the technical aspects.
Yep.
But I think overall, we're all focused on the public good. You do a great job with your recreational programs. I know I see you all down there working 100%. I know Candace puts a ton of hours into. In the select board, I think we got a good team. It's just a matter of getting this all ironed out.
They've come to us with this stuff. Tell us. Let's finish unless another board member had a discussion item. I think you guys are clear for what you need. Bob,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
just make sure you're speaking up.
The board and the commissioners on Park and Rec, they are doing a fabulous job. They really are. They're doing a ton of work. They're a ton of involvement. A+ kudos for them on that. The only hard spot I see with the whole thing is with all the departments here at town hall and myself and my office, we seem to be button heads financially wise. Who does what? Where does it go? Who ends up with the stuff not being done right? Mistakes being fixed. I think personally, with the financing part of it, that their meetings should be recorded for one. And 2, I think the biggest problem is we're not playing in the same sandbox when it comes to finances. And we just need to clarify it.
Okay. Thanks, Bob. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Thanks, Bob. Board good? All set?
I actually wrote to Paul Yannick, the new rec guy. Kind of saying what Bob just said, like, we're struggling here to work this out. This is only June 8th, 2022. It's not even a year old. And so the actual ironing out of things is,
Year and a half. Like that.
so
Just come to us with what you're looking for, what the problems are.
I'm glad
We-
that they came tonight.
So what we want, I mean, what we need is guidance if the chair is in them.
We did ask to invite them to our meeting,
That's fine.
our next meeting.
Okay.
Discuss this.
So I can find out what it is that I've been doing that everybody's, yeah,
I think that's what.
we
it is
shouldn't be
connected.
doing.
We're trying to iron out wrinkles and.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not on the same.
Organize, just like, again, a written thing rather than, I mean, I'm a good copier or whatever, but I put something together and then we'll go from there to see whatever, if you've got constrictions and you want to make a recommendation for how we can wind up amending that, we're open to that, but you got to tell us what it is. And so how we can do the analysis and see what's the right way to support you. Okay. We're ready to move on to the next one. You can conclude. We've got a,
What time is it? Do you want to know?
8:23.
I call this the meeting, oh, no, everybody's supposed to, we have to do it first and second. Second. I call it, yeah, what do you say, 8:23? Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jim. All right. We are moving on to item K, a draft ARPA spending plan. Adam, I know that I had done some work. I know this is probably not the last, we'll probably meet again. We'll talk about this next month, but Adam, go ahead and present what you've got this evening.
Sorry. What you have in front of you is that we had some ARPA requests coming in, so I wanted to give you the latest. Kelly worked with me on getting this finalized up to the August budget versus actual. Just so you have an idea of what we're looking at. Mike did receive the chair's proposal to bring to the board. I'm going to try to get that encompass all this together for the next meeting.
Yeah. You can just put it even. That's a request. It's not a draft, so I can sign it, but I'd like to get that into the packet. That's what I meant.
So this is an idea of where we're at right now, and
Is it reflective of what you gave me?
this is this
You know,
was
yeah, it is.
the document, and then you had your proposals, or excuse me, your requests, ARPA for the board's approval. I believe a lot of it was capital related, Mr. Chair. And we'll get this all together for your next meeting. My apologies.
Yep, and I just do want to point out that I think it's effective to try and solve this problem holistically, where we're saying, where did we already spend money to incorporate the 275 for the HVAC, the premium pay, roughly 100,000 that we just voted, but to be able to take a look at all of these things. So that they, I took into what the town administrator had put into it, and then went by community requests, capital improvement, what had been brought before the board previously. Communications, Bob's been great about voicing his needs based on what would you call it, like opportunities out there. He's always got an ear out there for what kind of opportunities there are for rolling stock. So I've incorporated that. Hopefully those bids hang for just a tiny bit more. Do you have, I think I'm getting ahead of myself on another agenda item. So unless someone else had anything to say about ARPA, we'll get the my request to you in the next packet.
I just have one comment, what we're looking at here. Items number 5 through 15, the various premium pay. And then we scroll right down to the very bottom, line number 32, ARPA premium pay bonus. It's not a bonus, it's ARPA premium pay. Now, does that include the lines up above, the 11 there, 5 through 15? It's confusing the way it's presented here.
I know when I did my memo, I took all of those out and put a line item
Okay.
like he has here. I think I actually had 100,000, but not everybody is gonna take it, so it's.
On the final version, no, those will all be out.
But that's a good point. All 5, like you said, 5 through
5 through 15 or 14.
So I did take that into account. Any other thoughts? Anything else you would like to be reactive to? My intent for this is that it'll become our final obligation. Like Kelly.
I just wanted to let you know that, the premium pay will be paid to the employees on the 1st of next week.
Okay,
I wanted you to know that that's being handled and will go out on the 1st of next week.
They're
that's
getting it
fantastic.
before we get ours. Yay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I would also like to note on this, with the upper premium pay, it actually, on here, I believe it should show as the select board has approved it. It doesn't.
It does.
Number 1,
No, 32.
Note one's there.
there's a 1 down
I'm
under
sorry,
no.
there's a 1 there. Okay.
Yep.
No, there
That's
isn't.
all right, Matt. The senior service meals is the first column. It's all there.
Yeah, the other thing I just want to say is it's good to see at least a projection.
Yeah.
And it's good to see on paper, okay, here's what we've already approved.
Yep.
Here's what's been expended of that, here's what's left. And now at least we have an idea that what we have to still
Yep.
encumber and expend before the requirement dates that we have as far as our proposed.
To Mr. Chair, if I may, Matt, to your point, there's a number of reports that we should have in front of us at this point, starting in April of last year. And the next one is due close of the month, this month. If we're not there, this is where the feds are gonna start looking. Where is your spend plan? What's your drawdown to date? What's your quarterly reporting? And if we miss them, they're gonna claw back. And when they do, they're taking everything and they want it yesterday. So just a word to the wise, we need to really watch this. Thinking back to when we had all the ESSER presentations and ARPA first kicked out. I took it upon myself to take care of everything ESSER and ARPA, and I'm really watching this like a hawk to make sure we're not putting ourselves in a predicament.
And I file those reports for the county.
Okay.
They are taken care of.
Outstanding. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Kelly.
What I do want to say, I want to give you kind of a primer. Some of the things, when people come to the table, when we get emails, I know there was a community discussion about whether people agreed with the premium pay plan or not. And I think it was a conservative plan, but there was a question of, well, what about the community? What about, where does the community get this stuff? I will tell you, that I wanted to be reactive to the point about the senior meals, and if we can figure out a way to, if we're able to use, pantry, whether it's we're augmenting pantry or we're augmenting senior meals, I wanted to be reactive to that. And then I also am going to recommend to you, I got the idea from Mayor Nicholson, when I was driving through, downtown Gardner, and he had a grant program to be able to help, businesses to be able to work on their facade or otherwise. I know sometimes we stray so far away from like COVID, pandemic relief, that sort of thing. We tried to be able to tie it to that. But I'm going to wind up proposing to you that we wind up cutting out a portion of money, whatever we can, and offer community microgrants of up to $5,000. I'd have to try and really figure through how we would administer that based on need, not just kind of dishing it out or otherwise, but to be able, well, Jackie's not here. That's the kind of flexibility that I'd really like to be able to say, if we're going to buy a truck, if we're going to redo HVAC, if we're going to help out the school with some pieces. I don't want to leave the community behind. I want to be able to say those who are affected within the community, not everybody was affected equally, but I'd like to have some micro grants out there to be able to help out. So consider that kind of thing before we meet next time, to say, yeah, that's where the direction we should be going. Or if you come up with your own idea on how to do that, or some other community-based approach. Okay.
Thank you, Mike. That was great. I just really appreciate what you just shared. I was wondering if, we're talking about senior meals. Are we allowed to use that for the kitchen?
I also have the kitchen included. Remember, kitchen was recommended by capital improvement. So those were the ones that I tried to prioritize as I put this together. And again, this is me putting together a list, working with the town administrator. His and I don't lie flat together.
Yeah.
I had given the school a little bit more than they had asked for. There was a couple of different situations where we disagreed on things or had a different opinion of it. When we bring it to the table, it's ours. It's not mine. I'm just making recommendations because I wanted to be able to put some. I had the perspective of being on the capital improvements, although Tim is on it now, to be able to try and bring these things together, trying to think about who sat at the table. What did capital improvements want? What is the priorities of the select board? What are the needs of the departments that we need to be reactive to? So that's what I did when I put it together. And we'll have next meeting to be able to help us come up with the opposition. Right. We are moving on. Speaking of ARPA, we have an ARPA request for Scout Hall is first.
This request form you see is for
To integrate that into it. Yep.
60,000. I want to appreciate Bob getting me the updated quotes for the electrical and plumbing. This will include to finish the inside construction for Scouts Hall, the electrical and plumbing. And that was our projection to finish this project up. To complete Scout Hall.
Barely said, finish, he said finish.
Well, no, let's see if it passes.
I'm not sure, Bob, did you want to
Never
add
know.
anything further? I mean, you got the latest quote, so you went over there with the electrician,
Yeah,
with
it
the
was-
electrical needs and.
Yeah, well, both of them went up a little bit due to materials, but the electrical went up substantially. Going to the print set we had for data wires and added outlets and specific location.
Well, how many are we doing of the added?
I don't have the full.
Oh, okay.
It
I
was.
was
two
just
separate
curious.
quotes. One that we originally talked about, most of the additions that were.
The electrical, we're gonna have to go out the bid for.
Anyone have any questions? The Scout Hall, we knew we needed more money, so.
Mhm.
Yep.
As far as an avenue.
Is there much of a buffer in case prices go up?
And basically, simple sound, went up about another $9,000. Originally, we were figuring $10,000 for electrical and $3 or $4,000 for phone.
Well, what was your question?
Is there a
Julie.
buffer in case things go up even higher?
There is a slight contingency.
Yeah.
For change orders, potential change orders.
Yeah, and did that and a little bit of a buffer, so.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Through the chairman, Bob, do we have a? I don't know, a possible end date to this project of Scout Hall, when we can cut a ribbon and open the door?
If the board approves.
If the board should approve this
I'll have
ARPA
to
funding.
Reach out to the second bidder on. Bid it out.
Okay.
And find out what his schedule was. As far as electrical and plumbers, couple of weeks.
Couple weeks, all right.
Electrical, probably have to go out to bid, so that's gonna probably take place.
At least I'm. Okay. That's great, thank you.
Go ahead, Terry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just wanted for the public's knowledge, it says completion of this building will provide a place for TCTV as well as the scouts, and TCTV did send in a letter, a respectful letter, making sure that they were concerned that we weren't acknowledging that. I just wanted to say we got the letter and I am acknowledging that for the record.
I would make a motion to approve the use of ARPA funds as presented for Scout Hall.
Second that motion.
Motion in a second, in discussion. Hearing none on the motion to approve the ARPA request for funds for Scout Hall as presented, how would you vote, Tim?
Yes.
Terry?
Yeah.
Matt?
Yes.
Jewel?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Bob, can you keep them?
Next item, action item
Dated.
M. ARPA request for six-wheel dump plow sander truck.
Mr. Chair, I'll have Mr. Soza come up here. He's presented me with some more information. I believe he spoke with you as
Yes,
well.
he did.
So I think he wants to amend his requests, but I leave it to the board. I think he has a good opportunity here, especially winter fastly approaching. So with that, Bob, please update the board.
Good evening, board. Here I am again,
Snazzy shirt.
riding your for equipment.
I like your uniform.
So last year, FY 24, when we fill out the sheets for capital, I put quantity 2 for 2 6-wheel dump plow sand trucks. It was supposedly gonna go into ARPA capital planning, along with several other items. The last 6-wheeler I bought, today's price, it went up over $60,000. So I'm just giving you this number. I've gone with a little bit of a smaller truck. More easy to handle on the side roads, easier for the guys to drive. It's a Ford F-750 I spec'd out. And that was submitted in 24's capital. There's a company, Tri-State Truck Sales. I'm actually going out there tomorrow to look at them. They have 2 of these trucks that are close to my specs that I put out there for a quote. And he's willing to give us a deal of 194,000 apiece. If if those weren't there and you said, okay, Bob, order one truck with ARPA money, my concern would be the time for ARPA is gonna expire before the truck will be finished. Because we have a year. So I don't know if I would take that chance and put the town in a predicament like that to order a truck and not have it ready at the due date of another ARPA. So I like the minimum asking for one truck, ask for two trucks. And these trucks would be ready, available probably within a month or a month and a half, ready to go to work. For 388,000.
Okay.
Yes.
And so the presentation that you got here in the packet for us, Bob, the original request was one vehicle for $247,400. You're asking to amend this to two vehicles for $388.
Correct.
And as you, and again, just to clarify, you said these vehicles are basically sitting in a lot somewhere and can be basically ready to go within a month, so we'd have them this winter.
It's start of winter, yes. Like I say, I'm driving out to Connecticut tomorrow to look at them. I just would love to be able to commit to them.
What's the capacity on them?
They're gonna, is 6 to 8 yard.
Okay, so it's 6-wheel plow and dump. And you had asked capital for one of them.
So that was gonna be my next question. Is because he's changing the request. Does this have to go back to capital, that's in the capital improvements committee to be
It was either
respected?
24 or 23. I had quantity of 2. I always told everybody I need a total of 3. But I had 2. And I know between me submitting and what gets transponded to the boards of the committees. They don't always see that. But I have a copy in my office and showing the two trucks. And that probably was
So we're
like
gonna have to
23.
So there's,
That's the biggest thing I want to make sure we clarify is, do
We
we have
don't-
to?
we don't have to go
Yeah.
back.
so what I would say, we are administering appropriated funds, not from the community, not from the state, federal funds. You know, I would verify through our financial management policy, but we would be satisfying if we were to approve the 2 trucks for 388, which we could make it work within the budget. I actually did the numbers even for what we just voted on, and we can still,
We're still okay.
yeah. We would fulfill the capital request. And then we would be satisfying the ARPA request to decide as a select board to be able to add the additional truck.
And don't get me wrong, Bob, it's not that I don't support it. I just want to make sure that we're covering all of our bases and we're not violating a bylaw somewhere to say that, you know,
No,
that's
it's
all it is. I'm
It's
not,
our financial management policy.
financial.
the financial management policy.
You know, I had shared with Kelly and Adam to be able to say, you know, from an ARPA perspective, are we, you know, we're going forward as lost revenue, being able to make purchases. When you see my request, which would include Bob's 388 for the 2 trucks, we would be satisfying the capital request from a number of years now, but last year it was for one of the trucks. And we would be approving this request for both, for the actual expenditure of the dollars, because when we made the when the capital planning made the recommendation, we had thrown that to ARPA. We were like, there's no way we're gonna be able to do all of these things.
And at
I
that
even
time-
asked him about the skid steer.
Yeah.
And I'm, you know, I was reactive to the rolling stock needs, also from the fire department, so we'll see that as well.
Okay.
I think you'll be happy looking at it next
Mhm.
week. No plan survives first contact with the enemy,
yeah.
but, I would say going forward to make sure that we're following policy, that's what I would do. I would just check on the financial management policy. If we approve this tonight as amended, 388 for 2 trucks, one satisfying, I look over to Tim because he's on capital planning now. Satisfying last year's capital and then adding the additional truck to meet his dire need for rolling stock.
Right.
That's how I think this would be justified as part of approving it.
And in all honesty, you probably, originally your proposal was for 2 vehicles at 247.
Yeah.
So actually you're saving a little bit of money there by doing 2 vehicles for 196 each. So,
However, it didn't
Yeah.
get translated to us. The capital only considered that one form and
Right,
able
yeah.
to make.
Yeah.
What did we, I'm trying to remember because I have my,
Offload vehicle is what was recommended. This was deferred.
this was deferred, so we bought one.
Swap loader was on the buildings and ground, which we on order now for the buildings and ground.
Okay.
If
Yeah, but like I
I
said, I just-
recall your presentation last year, capital, when they presented to the board.
Who's been thinking about the ARPA?
Well, it's a great opportunity for the town and my employees. It's a win-win. It doesn't happen that often. Now,
there is also a note here that says, except as required by extraordinary circumstances or an unforeseen opportunity,
Oh,
which this would, I feel like this might
you pull it.
fit in there. I'm looking at the financial management policy right now under, if anybody,
fell
if
right
you're
under
following,
that.
if you're following on at home, if you're following at home, or even if you're alone, under C3 capital improvement process, it states here, except as required by extraordinary circumstances or an unforeseen opportunity, all approved capital projects must be a part of the annual adopted capital improvement plan as required by the town.
No, we're covered.
Mr. Chair, if I
And I
may.
feel like that might
Yep.
cover us here.
Yep, and again, it's federal funds.
Yeah.
Yes,
Matt.
Tim.
Yes, if they are federal funds. Matt, you raise an interesting point. Yes, that's what the policy says. ARPA has its own set of rules. And this board makes a decision where those dollars get expended.
Like the 300 for the emergency.
Right.
The emergency change order.
Yep.
Oh, for the sewer pipes
Yep.
over in the rotary again.
But again, I think we make the point, to your point, both Tim and Matt, we try and stay within our policy
Yeah.
guidelines to be, what is the guide? What are we trying to do? We don't want to just throw the capital
Right.
improvements committees stuff out the window. We're fulfilling it. But again, I mentioned already, Bob has, the spider sense or something for opportunities, and so now he sees this available.
Well, and to that point, I mean, like I said, I support this entirely because it's an opportunity in order to get two for a little more than the price of one in this respect. So I support it entirely. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't unknowingly violating something that we shouldn't have been.
Yep.
And to that point, I move to approve the use of ARPA funds for as presented by Buildings and Grounds to amended to state the cost of proposed project as $388,000 and to purchase 2 vehicles for that amount.
Second that motion.
A motion and a second.
This is in buildings and grounds.
I'm sorry, it's a
Highway.
highway. I'll
Highway.
change that from
Department,
Buildings
yeah.
and Grounds to highway, my statement. I apologize for that.
I have a motion and a second.
If I need to restate it, I
Go
will.
get him, Bob.
You got it.
is it contingent upon what Bob inspects the truck?
After tomorrow, yeah. Oh,
Contingent upon this. He's gonna go look at him. He's stringent. They look at him and say, thanks.
And
but
just so you know, like the bigger trucker companies like Mac, they're talking, they're all gonna start going on strike too, so. It's gonna be.
Which means
enough.
supply is gonna get worse.
Yep, and if I'm not mistaken, the
Julie.
Ford plant is already
Yep.
shut down. They're out.
Oh, sorry.
So that's gonna add to the build time.
Misery.
Yes.
Okay,
All right, run fast with scissors. Any
Yep.
further discussion?
please. One back.
All right, hearing none on the motion to approve the ARPA request from Highway Department amended to 388,000 for the purchase of 2 trucks as presented. How would you vote? Tim,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well.
Thank you.
Big team.
Vaya con Dios.
Thank you.
Very appreciative.
I'll give you the.
Fingers crossed on
amended-
your
I'll
inspection.
give you the new number. That's what we've done tonight. I didn't think we recognized the scout stuff, so.
And I would just like to thank the board for humoring me with the questions to make sure that we were to make sure that we were there.
We're here for, man.
Good job.
All right, last 2 items, action related to approving the warrant for 2023 special state election.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I move to approve the warrant for the 2023 special state election as presented.
Second.
motion in a second. Any discussion? Hearing none on the motion to approve the warrant for the 2023 special state election as presented, how would you vote? Tim? Yes. Terry?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Last item is discussion related to countdown to 2024 annual town meeting. Mr. Lamontagne.
You see the countdown in front of you. This is more for the board's informational purposes, because of the your goals and your revenue estimates and the countdown for final approval, the Wednesday, November 29th meeting.
Okay.
Kelly's working on getting the revenues for me, so I'd probably be getting that by next week or so. And then the goals are pretty much almost finalized, and the countdown you'll see here. If something you see stands out, let me know. I think Matt's already gonna know.
I actually do have a note on here. Budget estimate from WRRS. Is that supposed to be Tuesday, January 30th, not Tuesday, January 20th?
You know, you could be right. Let me double check that.
It's likely a typo. I just wanted to make sure that
That's why I like bringing this, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of dates in here, so I like the board seeing it, and then at least looking at your calendar, and if something doesn't work, you'll let me know.
Tuesday, last week, and Tuesday is the 23rd. The 20th would be Saturday,
Yeah, so that's the typo.
so it's 23rd.
23rd.
Yeah,
Uh,
January
23rd.
23, 2024.
I have that note noted here. Anything else that anybody else saw?
So
Feel free to let me know. I still got some time before that second meeting in November.
I should just block my calendar for the months of February and March.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yep.
Adam, anything else? Countdown?
Also to note, we're having our all boards meeting Wednesday, December 27th. Does that work? I think that's probably the one that, I know December is busy and you got the holiday.
It's after Christmas.
I vacate that week, but it's fine.
Oh.
How?
Well, you're
The
not the
same
all
boat. I'm
boards.
not gonna tell you when mine is, but
Don't
there's
go.
a
I
meeting
should
on.
keep my mouth shut.
There's no other earlier date in December?
That's a hard no.
Really want that new toilet, don't
Very
you, Bob?
hard
Shoot, trying to hit these just swing over the fence on this one.
You just want to work together to see it, it'll be the 27th unless we figure out another way to do it.
We'll check your schedule too, because I know you're busy working too.
Yeah, the thing with the all boards meeting is you try and get attendance, I
It's
think that
important to
the
have the
collective
attendance
groan
if
that
it's
you
gonna
got
work.
when we read the 27th might be easy because everyone's around there, or you might be sick of family that's holed up in their house and they want to get out. But we'll take a look and see if there's another day.
New Year's Eve, we can make it a twofer.
Yeah.
Anything else? Countdown. All right, we do have a executive session this evening. Before we do that, with it possible coming out for a vote. Possible, I say, and TCTV is aware, but before that time, before we go into executive session, we would like to offer board member comments.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
just a point of order, looking at the hour, I would entertain that we consider, if necessary, passing our 10 PM hard stop.
Is that a motion?
I'll entertain that as a motion.
I'll second the motion. just in case.
Just in case the executive session goes longer than expected and if we
Yeah,
get to a vote.
I did this back when we had the 5.5 hour one. I did it an hour early because I knew we were going there.
Yes.
Okay,
I
there's
can
a
see
mo-
what he's doing.
There's a motion in a second, further discussion. I'm hoping we don't need it, but-
As
I
am
hope not, but I'd rather have it in place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Hearing nothing else on the motion to extend past 12 PM, should we need to, how would you vote? Tim,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes,
Julie,
Sure.
Matt?
Reluctantly, yes.
I'm voting no.
Thank you, Mike.
Symbolic.
One in every room.
symbolic note of defiance. All right, board member comments. Anyone want to go first?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to say, happy Halloween to all the children in the community and may they be safely guarded. And we have beautiful weather like we're about to have in the next couple of days. That's about it.
Thank you, Julie. Terry,
and I don't know if anybody knows this, but I noticed today that people are walking on the wrong side of the road. It's so frustrating when, I was raised, you walk toward traffic, you ride your bike with traffic. And today, all over Gardner, all over Templeton, people were walking with their backs against traffic. So you can't see, but that's the way the safety officer taught me. And I just hope that at Halloween, parents and people remember that you walk toward traffic so you can see what's coming at you. And if you're on a bike, you ride with traffic. And then the second thing is I ended up going to women elected municipal officials. And former Governor Jane Swift spoke, but I'm gonna pass over that for now. But Callie Ritter is on the MMA website and she was the introduction to the session. And she talked about to 4 types of intelligence: linguistic, math, logic, intelligence, kinesthetic, musical, and emotional. And she was setting the bar for the next speaker, and she gave a definition of emotional intelligence, refers to the ability to identify and manage one's own emotions as well as the emotions of others. I found that fascinating. I won't go over all the notes that she inspired us to think about, but what dawned on me, we were thinking of the parade, and we have no band in the school. So raising my family, we were focusing on well-rounded children, and they need all these. They need music to be well-rounded. So I just wanted to point out that music is a type of intelligence. It's not for everybody, but kids should have an option. And I just feel really, I'm concerned that we're not taking that into consideration and allowing our children to be well-rounded. So, and Governor Swift has a nonprofit with school issues as well. And I mentioned it to Matt about the 4th grade tests, paying attention because they're not, some communities mean well, but they're not teaching phonics. So, that's just, I could go on. I have more notes but I just wanted to do that little.
But may the school committee hear that. That's a great thing to get out there to the community. As our community schools grow in our area, people should be aware that, they're losing out on, we don't have a band at Narragansett right now. And that's kind of a shock to me personally, but I don't have children in the school system right now, but we've always had a Narragansett band. So that's unfortunate. It's good that it's out there. Get it funded and get it up there. Offer it in the schools. The budget.
thanks, Terry. Anything else?
Couple quick things.
Sure.
Since our last meeting, I've noticed driving around town, bulk waste has kind of been a sine wave up and down and up and down. Just a reminder to the folks, Templeton does not collect and pick up bulk waste, disposal of it falls on you as the property owner. I had a question on annual reports. I know we have one that will be coming due the end of the year, but they're based on the prior fiscal year. Is there a reason we don't start these sooner like as the fiscal year closes out, start looking at putting the annual report together instead of waiting through December. Just something to think about.
Yeah, fiscal instead of calendar.
Well, it is based on the fiscal year,
Mhm.
not the calendar year,
Okay.
but we report it at the end of the calendar year.
So the annual reports in the bylaw, they have to be, we have to have them by the end of January. But we generally will let people know at the end of the fiscal year, beginning of the next fiscal year. While it's fresh in your mind, maybe kind of get those to us. Nobody does it. They're just so busy. I think they just don't take the time. So we do try to get that out there to them, but collecting them and getting them in is another story.
Okay.
Thanks, Tim. And
I had one other
Yeah,
here.
of course.
Looking at my last note here. Where'd I go with? Well, we heard some citizen input and I had a couple emails questioning on an HR director consideration. And I know we kicked that around once before as a potential
on our-
ARPA use. Yep.
It's on our goals.
Okay. Like to see us move forward with that if possible. Yes, it was on
I
our
totally
goals
agree.
from
Yep.
our workshop. And that's
Tim, I
it.
can work. I'll work with you.
Yep, that's it.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everyone.
No, I don't have anything to say.
Adam, you good?
Same.
Holly?
Fit right in, you got 2 more years.
Okay, all right, so that concludes the business portion. We do need to enter into executive session. Sorry, TCTV, we might need you on the outside. So I would entertain the motion to enter into executive session.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move to enter into executive session for possible action for MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, strategy renegotiations with non-union personnel, town administrator.
And a motion
Second,
Good night, thanks, Bob.
in a second.
Thanks, Justin.
Any discussion? Hearing none on the motion to enter into executive session, how would you vote? Tim,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Julie?
yes.
And I vote yes as well. Entering in at 9:01, we'll just take a minute or two break for TCTV to get
Mr. Chair, you are unmuted and off that.
Unmuted.
Yes.
Okay. We are back from executive session.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I make a motion to conclude negotiations and to approve the town administrator's contract as negotiated by the chair.
Second,
I have a motion in this second. Any further discussion? Tom? Hearing none on the motion to conclude negotiation and approve the town administrator's contract as negotiated, how do you vote? Tim?
No.
Terry?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Julie?
yes,
And I vote yes as well. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I got motion, second.
Second.
There we go. Any further discussion? Hearing none on the motion to adjourn the meeting. How do you vote? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion, meeting is adjourned at 9:00.